Yeah, it's streaming live now.
We're going already?
Yep, it's on.
Okay,
Smile.
perfect. Hello. Okay, this other screen is tricking me. All right, awesome. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to or happy. I should say happy Motivation Monday, and it is a special Monday today with featuring Women's International Day. So we have a special guest today, and that is Ingrid Romero, and she's going to be sharing with us. I will be also looking at our comments that we have. So if you have any questions today while she's sharing her story. But before we get started, I just wanted to say that Ingrid was the first woman I thought of to bring onto this page today because she touched my life. We met, oh geez, what was this? Maybe 8, 9 years ago, 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
Body
Yeah.
pump time. Body
Yeah,
pump time.
a long time ago. And she was, one of the big bosses, big honchos over at 24 Hour Fitness. And I got to meet her. We got to do a stage performance, live launch, body pump, body combat. Helen fell off the stage. That was amazing.
That is how we met.
Yes. But I just want to say she impacted my life in so many ways. As she journeyed through her life of different challenges and things in her career and in her personal life, I watched her as she shared her journey and was so vulnerable with all of us. And it impacted my life, mind, body, soul, and in my faith and in so many ways. And so I look up to you, Miss Ingrid. And I'm going to just start us off with the Proverbs really quick. Proverbs 31 is really long, but I'm just going to read a couple of them and then I'm going to let her take it away. But I also will open up my page so I can see our live video.
Yeah, take your time. I just filled some water, so I will be right back.
Oh, okay, perfect. I see Marlene is on here with us. Awesome. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that everybody can see us. And I'm also going to share this, hold on, onto my other page because this is a really special day and I want to be able to share this with so many. Okay, I'll come back and share it. Here we go. So this is from Proverbs 31, verse 15. She gets up while it is still night. She provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets out about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the stand. She makes linen garments and sells them. And I'm going to stop here, and supplies the merchants with sashes. I can go on with these verses. There's so many, and many of you have maybe heard of the Proverbs 31, but I look at Ingrid as somebody that represents many of these, if not all of these. I know we're not perfect, Ingrid,
No.
but you really represent a lot of these things when I think of a woman of a Proverbs 31. So I'm really excited you're here today. And
thank you. There's probably not a greater compliment. So thank you. That means so much to me. There's some amazing verses in here that, as you were reading, that come out. And I'm reading from the Passion Translation, which is one of my favorite translations. And it just talks, like, I love that it talks about she's not afraid of tribulation, for all her household is covered in dual garments of righteousness and grace. And to me, that just speaks so beautifully as to how we are to show up as women. But what I also love about the Proverbs 31 woman, if I can be quite frank, is she's badass.
I love that.
Right? She got a little badass in her. You know, she sets her heart, she sees a field, she goes to buy it, she reaches out to the poor. She's not afraid, or better said, maybe she is afraid, but she acts anyway. Right? Like, that's badass to me. And that is one of the things that I just, that just really resonates with me, that a woman after God's own heart is a woman that has a little badass in her. Because we're stepping out in faith on who he has said we are. versus what the world tends to say we are.
Yes.
Which can limit us so much, right? So anyway, that's what I get out of Proverbs 31. And that's probably all I need to say today. Just go be a badass.
Go be badass.
Just go do that.
And don't let your light go dim at night.
No. Let's face it, if you got kids, you're not sleeping anyway.
We got a spindle. We're making socks.
I love that. And Mary, I love that. I have so many wonderful stories of meeting amazing women on my journey. And I'm so grateful for 24. I will forever be grateful for 24. People ask me that all the time, right? Like, where's the anger? Where's the this? And there's no room in my life for that. And there really wasn't ever any, 24 ended, but 24 ended. And I took so much with me that it was hard to ever really be angry.
Mm-hmm.
It was business, and it's just what happens. And I think women, we're emotional creatures. Let's be clear, we're emotional creatures. But I think along the way we learn, especially as we're growing closer to Christ, we learn that the emotions, the Bible says to be angry, but do not sin. So the emotion in and of itself is never a bad thing. It's what we allow the emotions to do to us, and what the reaction that comes out of us that sometimes we have to come back and apologize for. But I don't think we ever have to apologize for the emotion.
Right.
There's no such thing as a bad emotion. There's just a bad reaction to the emotion. Right.
And for some of our viewers, they may not know your job title or what you did for 24. Maybe you could just tell them really quick and just.
How do you not know that? Just kidding.
They might not know you.
I know.
Some of them are from Australia, so they may have body pump Les Mills 79.
They might know me from 79 under my former name. So I started at 24 Hour Fitness back in 1995 as a group exercise instructor. However, I had a business degree and quickly jumped over into the only way to make a living was to get into in-using operations. And so I was always teaching, but I moved up the ladder operationally and started running clubs and running all that, and then got into corporate and got into quite a few different experiences with 24. But what I'm probably known for, how I met Mary, how I met so many people, is that the last 4 years I was there, I was the vice president of fitness for 24 Hour Fitness and oversaw the entire Group X organization. I'm the one that brought Les Mills back. I'm the one that brought TRX in. I'm the one that brought Zumba in. I'm the one that brought UJam in. I'm the one. But
God bless you.
But it wasn't me. I was part of an amazing, and this is such a great opportunity to talk about it, is I get credit, but I shouldn't get all the credit because I worked with an amazing team of women that we are all still today.
Love that.
We're all still really close, and it's wonderful to see them all out doing amazing things. Carrie's running In Shape, and Laura's running UFC Fit, and it's so fun to see people out and about and still successful, building off of their success in fitness. And so in 2013, I was part of the restructure and was canned with 19 other people in one day, and it was a day. Someone said to me, it's the day Group X died. I'm like, no, it's not. But, it was heartfelt because it was so sudden. It was so sudden, and it was so sad because what I had built was relational, which is the true essence of who we are as women. It was so relational. And so it was really hard to just all of a sudden be a part of this amazing movement at 24. It was hard to kind of cut that tie, but I stayed with Les Mills. So I was kind of on the outside looking in and watching everything, and enjoyed my time with Les Mills as well. It was amazing. And just the ability to spread, I think, a message. Oftentimes for my time at 24, I always felt like I was a poster child for women at 24, because I was one of the first really executive women, especially in, we had definitely female accountants and at a high level, but in terms of field facing, there weren't a lot of women vice presidents when I was making my rise. There's plenty now. Diversity is not real. Well, I don't even know now because I'm out of there. But as such, it really felt like there was some of that. I loved being able to give women a role and help people understand what it was like to be a woman in the job.
Mm.
Um,
You
you know,
opened doors for others. You
yeah.
opened the doors for others. You were like the first one.
And that was, and I always felt that, and thank you for that, but I always felt that the thing about it was that God gives us the jobs. Let me be clear. He gives us the jobs. So if he gave me the job, then I'm supposed to use it somehow. And because the other thing I've always been super clear about is he blessed the work of my hands far beyond what my capability was. And so as long as he was going to have me in the role, then I wanted to be looking and watching and making sure I was a positive extension of the responsibility that he gave me.
Yeah.
Which was to 24, but was also to the people, right? If you're a leader, whether you're a mom or you're actually in a large organization, you're a leader of your tribe, of your crew. And it's about being really responsible. And I wasn't always good at it, Mary. None of us ever are.
We're trying to figure it out as we're going through it, right? I can relate.
I mean, you have to be willing to learn as you go and make your mistakes and own your mistakes, and then say, okay, here's where I'm going to be better. I.e., I'm in my second marriage, right? Hopefully, better, right?
Yeah.
But I took 10 years in between to make sure that this time I had a lot of things figured out. I had myself figured out, and was approaching this in a really positive way. And I think that's what leadership is. It's, we're all leaders. And I've always taken a little bit of taken aback at the prospect that you have to have a role or a title to be in leadership, when in fact, we're all leaders. And as women, and that's who we get to talk to today, you're all leading. Because if someone's got their eyeballs on you, you're a leader.
Yes.
You're a leader. And so I'm so grateful that I'm still looked at as kind of that inherent leader in the Group X world, even though I'm in HR now. And I still do my teaching and whatnot, but I've jumped careers and really focused more on the people side of business and everything like that. But this is still where my heart is. My heart lives in this space and place, watching someone like you take the skills and the opportunity and the people in front of you. And, there's no question God's going to say, well done. You took what he gave you and you expanded it. Right. And that's where I say, yes, more of that. Yes, please.
Yes. You're making me cry.
I know, it's what I do.
Well, because like as women, we're in our, like you said, we are leaders. We're leaders to the younger women that are coming, next, and we can help them as they're having babies or getting married or don't know how to find their way in their jobs or wherever they're going. And so that is our responsibility. And sometimes we forget those things, or, we are a leader in our home or our job,
right.
Whether, like you said today, like whether it's 5 people join us live or 100, it's more the quality than the quantity. And remembering that the person that's right next to us watching us, they're watching, they're observing,
watching.
To be a light.
And we become responsible for the person watching. And I think oftentimes, especially in this social media world, we get really lost in of who I want to be watching me, but this is who actually is watching me. And so I'm responsible to that wake and that message. My husband loves it when I say we all leave a wake behind us. We leave a wake, and what does that look like? And I think, one of the mistakes that I've made, and I think many people make, especially as you're new into elevated leadership, is we tend to lead up and we forget what's right in front of us. And the people right in front of us are the people that are the most important. They're the ones getting the front row seat to the experience of who we are. And they're the ones that really authenticate our message. Right. So I've often, and my kids, unfortunately, my kids have me as a mom, but fortunately as well, right? It kind of comes and goes when you have someone that is that is an executive coach and life coach, sometimes your kids coach you right back. They use your words against you.
Yes.
Right? Which is not fun, but it's honest. And one of the first times that came back to me is I was very outspoken about my kids were, because I was a single mom for so many years, my kids were my number one priority until my kids told me that no, they weren't. Because my kids held me honest to where I was spending my time. And there was, and I was like, well, quality time. And they're like, no, quantity, please. Right. And I had to re-engineer, I had to take that feedback and re-engineer my life a bit so that it was in line, so that if I said my kids were my priority, that it showed up that way and that it felt that way. And then the right people to ask are your kids. So if you're going to be so bold as to say your kids are your priority, your family is your priority, then ask your family and ask them to hold you accountable. And it's painful, but it's good in the end. It's really, really good in the end, because that's the authentic really shows up. And in the business world that I live in now, we often say your business culture is built by design or default. It's always being built. Personalize that, right? Who we are is either by design or default. We either let things take over our life, we either let things happen, or we are intentional with our time, with our skills, with our talent, with our voice, with our message, with our heart. We're intentional, and then things show up purposed, and it's just a much, much better way to live.
Yeah, I like that. Yes. I was going to ask you, so as you went through that hard time in, I was going to say 1993, 2013. I don't know where I went.
I'm old, but I'm not that old.
No, you're not at all. 2013, where, in your life, there wasn't any like security in a lot of things. Everything was kind of open. And you felt maybe, I don't know exactly how you felt in that time, but I wanted maybe you could share a little bit of that story and how you were kind of like reinventing yourself or finding yourself again, right? Because it's very easy, and I can relate to this too, as a mom or whatever job you have. I lost my job in 2010 as a school teacher. So when I met Ingrid and she was going through this, I could relate and have empathy for her, because when I wasn't a school teacher anymore, I didn't know who I was anymore. I put my identity into being a school teacher. And so now, yes, I was a mom and a wife, but I was a school teacher. Well, I went to school for this. What am I supposed to do now? I fell into my whole thing with teaching. But one thing, Ingrid, you said something to me. All I know is that every time I walked into the Group X room, I would think about you, and I would always thank God and say, thank you, God, for this moment that I get to teach right here, right now, because this is all I know. And I don't know if I'll still get to have it in a year or a month, or, and look, technically I'm not in there anymore. So, but so like putting our identity in our jobs or in these things, like we can get lost in that. So
We can.
Maybe you can share a little bit of you. And
I'd love to, because this is a big message for me. And messages for me, please understand, if you don't know me, when I say I've got a message, it's because I had to learn it the hard way. That's why it becomes a message, right? Your mess becomes your message.
I like that.
Right there. Your test becomes your testimony right there. So that's a lot of me. And I would summarize what you're saying, Mary, this way: labels are limiting, right? And so we all fall prey to the labels. So for me in 2013, I was, unemployed. I was heading to broke. I was newly divorced. I was a single mom. I was like the labels, right? I had so many labels on my life. And then it was like, okay, well, now I'm an entrepreneur. Like, that's scary.
Yeah,
I didn't want that. Right. But labels in and of themselves, right? That's what the world puts on us. The world says you are this is how I see you. And the problem with that is, I think the best way I've heard it said is that the world didn't create us. So the world can't label us. We're bigger than that. We're bigger than that. We're more powerful than that, especially when I recognize that I'm a daughter of Creator God, right? So it was about, in this point, of dispelling my labels. And it was not an overnight process because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was stumbling through this process of, you know, being married to being divorced and a single mom. Ew, right?
It's a lot.
Sorry, like, even, and I'll say this really candidly, even if in my case I would say divorce, I am not an advocate for divorce. Divorce should only happen when it needs to happen. That said, it's still an ugly label. It's still a limiting label. Especially, I hate to say this, and especially in some cases inside the church, I was really struggling to find my place again, to stand. And I was Ingrid Owen from 24. Did anyone even care who Ingrid Owen was? Because I was Ingrid Owen from 24 for so long. How do you cut off the from 24 and wonder if you still matter to anybody? And to a large degree, Mary, this is where it gets really tough. To a large degree, I didn't.
That's hard.
I didn't. My phone wasn't ringing. My friends weren't calling back because I didn't have anything to give anybody. Unless you were really just interested in me. There wasn't much left, right? I couldn't get you a job anymore. I couldn't get you promoted. Couldn't get you to meet this person or that. I had nothing to offer. And I found the circle got so much smaller.
Wow.
And infinitely more valuable because the people that were left, they're my ride or dies now. Now I figured out who those people are. And by the way, it's good to know who isn't in that circle and who I had, you know, like, you knew my kids. I knew your kids. And I haven't talked to you now. Like, what? So there was a lot of pain to work through. There was a lot of refiguring out who I was and who I was meant to be. And the most important part, who do you want to be? That's the question. Like, who do I want to show up as again versus who am I? You feel the difference in the empowerment. And the second one is that I'm allowing people to tell me who I am. I'm allowing a situation. Yes, I'm divorced, so I'm a single mom. Does that define me? Oh, heck no. It's an aspect of my life, right? And so learning how to use those as platforms to jump off of. And when you take your suffering and turn it into a place of service, right? Of saying, hey, like, I'm in this place. I can't be alone in this place. Who else is here? And how can we work? What do you know that I don't know? What do I know that you don't know? And how do we connect? And that was turning points for me, whether it was job loss, where there were many of them. You know, I went from making a significant amount of money to being dead broke as a single mom, thinking I was not sure where I was going to live. I mean, I have traveled the world. I've traveled that valley, and it's freaking scary as heck. And I had a girlfriend say to me once, I know my husband and I have been in that place before and just really struggled. I'm like, yeah, the difference is it's your husband and you, as opposed to I'm here wondering how I'm going to take care of my kids. And I got no one to talk to about this. And that stress and the mental gymnastics is one of the worst places a human being can be. But now you know what it is? It's a place of service for me. Because if you're a single mom, I got you. I know what that is. And now I'm here to encourage you. Right? And that's how we use it. I don't know. That's my story. That is my story over and over again.
I love it. It's beautiful. I remember you posted, it just stayed with me. It was like a hand. It was like God's hand. And then another one. And it was like hanging on to something. And I think it said something like, let go or something. It said something to that while you were going through all of your, your hard times, and you shared a lot. I followed you. I read them. I listened. And I know I wasn't the only one. So your vulnerability and your humility, because a lot of us, can be scared. We don't want to share these things. Oh, what are people going to think about us? But you used it to serve and to glorify God, and you helped a lot of women. And I'm going to share a little story. As I was going through some hard times, I actually picked up the phone and called Ingrid. Ingrid was not my best friend, but I felt like I knew her. So I called her and shared a really hard time that I was going through, and she was there for me. And then we ended up doing a training together. Like a little bit after we had talked about that, I went to sprint training, and there was this moment where we are on the bike, okay, you guys, and if you do fitness or you do anything that's exhilarating and you're in the moment, we had a challenge, and we had to just zone in and not stop for the next, I don't know how long it was, maybe 5 minutes, whatever it was a ride, right?
Make me cry.
At the end of a Les Mills training, which is always hard. And I was actually crying on the bike by myself. I found this moment between me and God, and I'm going to cry, but Ingrid walked up behind me and just,
I remember this.
And you said, let go. And I really feel like that was God using you, because I don't know what was going on in your mind, but you knew you needed to tell me. And it wasn't about me and the bike. It was about me and my heart, and where my heart was at with God. And you allowed God to use you, and you really touched my life. And that's what God had been telling me for a long time. So I wanted to share that. Sorry, getting all emotional here, but we're
not going to apologize for our emotion.
Okay.
No more. Ladies, if you're listening to this, we will not apologize for being a woman ever again.
Right. I love
it's
that.
Beautiful. Stop apologizing for that, girl. It was beautiful. It's beautiful to me. I remember that. It's been the greatest privilege when someone tells me that God spoke, like something I said was an affirmation of something that, like, that's awesome, right? Like and I'm a big believer that God doesn't call us as equipped people. He equips us as we're called, as we say, I'm available. And so I remember you were one of the very first people, and I've shared it with my husband a few times, because so often, I'll just say it this way, so often social media gets a bad rap because it's so superficial and it's so, right, all of that. Do you see that I need Botox right here? Do you see that?
No, stop that. Okay, this means we're intense.
Do you see this?
I have all kinds of lines from being happy and intense, and I'm going to keep doing it.
But I was explaining to my husband, I said, that's social media is what you make of it. And I have to tell you that I have been incredibly intentional. I don't really get worried about how many people are on my posts. I get consumed by when people react to them and making sure I'm commenting back, because that's real connection to me. I know it's over social media, but it's real connection. And you and I are proof of that. Yes, we met live, but our friendship blossomed and bloomed digitally.
It did.
Virtually.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not, we didn't go have coffee until we had known each other and been praying for each other for years, right? So it is what you make it. And social media can be real. Yeah, it can be all the other things. Let me tell you, it can be all the other things, but it's what you make it, and it's where you spend your time. And I don't get wrapped up in all the crap that's going on social. I just go, pass right by it. Like, because I don't need it. But this I need. This. You and I need. That's the good stuff. And so spend time in the good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Thoughts become things where we spend our time, right? It goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's about where you spend your time. That's your priorities. Be intentional.
So today being Women's International Day, what is like your one big message that you can say to all these women? And then we can open it up for any questions or anything they have.
That'd be great. I will tell you, Mary, it's some of what I've already said. Stop apologizing for being a woman. We are emotional creatures. It's part of our beauty. It's how we're created. Don't change how you've been created. And stop playing small. If you feel like you're in an environment where you're playing small, I have to tell you, change the environment. Speak your truth. Speak your truth, because the last thing in the world you're ever going to want to because that is leadership, speaking truth in love. I am not, you don't need to be a jerk about it. You really don't. But you do need to be honest about it. You need to be radically candid with who you are and how you're feeling. And it's not about apologizing for it. It's about finding the ground that you're supposed to stand on that's yours, because it's sacred space. Stand your ground. And in a really feminine, powerful way. That's who we are. That's who women are. We're amazing creatures. We are amazing. Men couldn't do what we do. Are you kidding me?
It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sure people have some questions for you. I see some of our friends out there. We got Glenda, Marlene, Nicole, Jenny. Do you guys have any questions for Ingrid? We got Lisa, Rita. We also want to thank you guys for staying on with us. And if you have any questions or anything you guys want to say about what Ingrid shared and her story, and
you don't have to agree with me.
Yeah, you could totally disagree. Tell her she doesn't need to fix this.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
From all those intense body pump grit classes.
Facial fireworks have gone awry.
Yeah. So I don't see any questions right now. Anybody? Marlene, you have a question, comments, anything you guys want to say? You want to thank Ingrid? Oh my gosh, I'm zooming my face into this camera. It's so funny. I can't tell with the little screen we're using. But I love it.
Well, I want to congratulate you on launching a business during COVID, doing hard things. You're living proof, Mary. We can do hard things. We can do hard things. Marlene saying no questions. Oh, good. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you. Thank you. How did you find your community when you were struggling? From Penny.
Ooh,
I see that.
Yeah, go.
You know, Penny, it's kind of funny, but I would say this. Your community kind of shows up when you show up fully you. People go this way or that way, right? So it's about opening your eyes, because it may surprise you a little bit. Sometimes you get surprised by the people that come near you and the people that walk away. And I think you just have to be aware and go, okay, so this is what it is. And keep in mind that circles of friends in a woman's life, there are some ride or die, but there's folks that kind of come and go based on what's going on in your life. And that's okay, because stuff is going on in their life, right? So it is what it is. But I'm going to say it this way, when I started being real with who I was, my circle became smaller, more defined, and people who were comfortable with that were okay with that, versus wanting me to show up in a different way. And that was the rub. And I think as women, that's one of our struggles, is we just like, why don't you like me? What do you mean you don't like me? Like, what do I have to do? And the minute you start saying, what do I have to do to get you to like me? Put yourself in check, put yourself in timeout, do something, like hold up, right? Because make sure that that's what you're supposed to be doing with your time. Chances are it's not.
Wow, that was powerful. That's so powerful.
Hard lesson.
I really like that. I'm still learning that. I feel like sometimes I'm like that middle schooler who's like, are you still my friend? Are you my friend?
We all have some of that
still. Out of this.
No. And our feelings get hurt, right? I mean, our feelings do get hurt.
Yes. I see some more questions. But Marlene said no questions, but beautiful words and sentiment. Thank you. And then Kyla said, thank you so much for sharing. I could listen to you ladies talk all day.
We could talk all day.
Kyla's from Canada. She's one of my Canadian friends. She's the best.
Awesome.
You need to meet her, Ingrid. You'd love her. My wing girl, Alicia, sexy Alicia.
Hey.
Ingrid, how do you keep your purpose at the center of what you do? Careers go all these different directions. How do you maintain purpose in your life?
So this is such a good question, Alicia, such a good question. So it's an ongoing process, right? It's ongoing. It's an ongoing gut check. I believe in a small circle of women that hold you accountable. I believe in that. I believe that you've got to have people around you that can say, wait, what? So you've got to have that. And often in my life, when I was high up at 24, nobody would ever say no to me. Well, those are the wrong people to have in your inner circle, right? You need people that can be really honest and see you as a person. But for me, it's also a continual coming back to Jesus on a regular basis and checking in my direction, because I'm on a journey with him. So this is really personal. My faith is out there, and I make clearly no apologies for that. But my goal, like, I don't think our walk with God is the kind of thing where he says, okay, go over there, and then he walks away and handles someone else, and we're just supposed to go walk over there. I believe it's a day by day walk, and sometimes he's gonna, I could miss it if I'm not checking in with him, and he goes, turn left now, turn right now, okay, now this, now that. And that's part of the relationship and the journey that I enjoy. And so it's about keep coming back. I spent Friday night and Saturday morning at a women's virtual retreat, checking in, making sure that my connection and my relationship with Jesus is priority. And it is. That is the priority of my life. And I know that because if you ask my husband, if you ask my kids, they'll tell you like that they see that as a reality. And so life, especially during COVID. So I'm going to take just a minute, because that's why this is such a good question, because COVID happened and things got thrown up in the air, and what you thought your career was, you're like, well, wait, now what? Right. And I heard people saying, well, I guess I have to retire. I can't teach anymore because 24 did this, or I got fired from here or whatever. I'm like, no. You don't retire.
You reinvent.
Until he tells me I'm done. 24 can't tell me I'm done. 24 never did tell me I'm done. Let me tell you that. They never did. I started teaching 3 days after leaving 24, because that's how long it took me to sub a class at another club.
I love
24 nobody controls that. My passion, my purpose is mine. Yeah. And so does it mean I may have to find another way? Sure. Does it mean I have to go to God sometimes to go, am I still on the right path, or do you want me to see something else? And I did. I made a massive career change on the verge of turning 51 and jumped into HR, because I just felt like now's the time. Now, like, I get it. This is what it's all been. And so listen to the still small voice. And I am a believer in a little bit of the cancel culture right now. Stop listening to so many voices. Listen to this one. Listen to that one. Don't listen to a whole bunch of voices that don't know you. Talk to the people that know you. And by all means, never take constructive criticism from someone that's never constructed anything.
Oh, I love that.
Surround yourself with people that are going where you're going. Surround yourself. And the hardest part of that, Alicia, is if by chance that means you have to leave some people behind. And that's hard. It's the hard yards. I don't have another word for it. It's just the hard yards.
I love that. Kind of going back to community and finding people. Penny, I know she had brought that up, but I was just thinking about, my sister actually brought this up to me today. She goes, I saw you on Instagram. You were out with Alicia again. And she's like, you guys look so happy. I'm really happy for you, Mary. I feel like you found a really good friend. I remember about 5 years ago, you kind of lost a crew of your friends as you were going through some hard times in your life. And it was so weird. Alicia, I know you're on here, but I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. I've had friends, and like you said, when you're at the gym or you're in you have friends everywhere, but when things get quiet, who are your people who are really standing by? And I feel like I hadn't had that in a long time until Alicia came into my life. And I'm really grateful for her, because having that close friend that's gonna put you in your place and you put them in their place, and pray for each other and cry together and really be raw with each other.
Yeah.
That's beautiful friendship.
That's beautiful. I know my best friend we were doing this prior to COVID, but COVID really cemented it. I have two best friends, actually. One lives outside of California. One lives down the street. We use Marco Polo every single day. We check in on each other. We talk about our devotionals. We talk about, we talk about our family. We talk about the stuff, and we talk about what's happening. And it's just super important to have that. I know when I first got married, it was like, well, but I'm your husband. And I'm like, oh, hang on a second. These are my girl, like, these are my family. My girls are my family. My family's all back east. So my girls are my family, and they have a place and a space. They always will. And we're in a very, it just finding that space for women to fit in my life, because I can't survive without them. And I can't survive with just my husband. I love him to no end. Right. And I love my girls. There's a power in and, man. You got to have, and it's just a couple. It's just a couple, right, Mary? It doesn't take much. And I think that's a big lesson learned too. Again, quality over quantity. Yeah. All day in the women's world.
Right. And as women, I know we're probably running out of time. I know I see another one. Oh, Alicia said, so awesome. Thank you. Such a powerful statement. And I couldn't agree more about those close friends. Good. Mary knows. Yes. Amen. And I wanted to say, oh geez. Okay. I lost my train of thought. Oh, just as women, like, and media and all of these things, it's easy to, you can get in the comparison game or whatever, but at the end, like, we are a tribe, ladies, all of us, right? And, one of us has the nice, long, straight hair. The other one has the curly, wild hair. The one has the big lips and the big butt. And the other one has the flat butt and the big boobs and the long legs, right?
Someone has this.
Yeah. Oh, I have that too. But some of us have that crazy personality, and the one who's like, slow and easy, and we can, just love on each other and like give each other grace, like, and cheer each other on in each other's businesses. And it's not a competition, but more of like, let's like lift each other up. And I know we hear that a lot, but then we see the opposite when you go to TikTok. Or you go.
I don't go to TikTok. No, just kidding.
No, just kidding. Or you go to whatever world and all the different things that are going on out there. But let's remember to have grace and love our neighbor as ourselves, and to cheer each other on, and to really, come together as women. And so I want
to get snaps for that, girl. You get snaps for days for that. Preach it.
And I'm going to say a big shout out to my team MFF, that, like Ingrid said, when she was, working and doing everything, that, like, yeah, she got credit for stuff, but like, it wasn't for her team. And the first thing I thought was like, I wouldn't be here or have anybody to watch my videos if it weren't for you out there who's tuned in, who's done the workouts, who's inspiring other people around you, and who inspire me every day to get out of bed and to go to the garage and work out with you. So I want to thank you for being an amazing community, and you should join us sometime and work out with us, Miss Ingrid.
I think I need to.
Fun.
I'm just not doing those crazy dance moves you do on TikTok.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you want to wear a wig? If you ever come into town, can you come in?
Deal.
Okay.
Deal.
I love it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Do you want to finish out with anything else, or last statement?
I will. My mantra for this year, you guys, which I'll share with all of you, is rise up.
Ooh, I love it.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Just rise up.
Beautiful.
Always, always rise.
Amen. And you know what, since that's yours, it kind of goes with my verse that God's brought me for the last 5 years. And he's finally spoken to me and said, rise up, Mary, and like, take this. It's from Esther 4:14. And it's, perhaps this is a moment for which you have been created.
For such a time as this.
Yes. And I said this to Alicia the other day. I said, I know this sounds weird, but I feel like God's like, put your crown on and stand up. Let's go. Chin up and let's do this. And I'm like, okay. So,
chin up or the crown falls.
Oh, shoot. Ladies,
chin up, girlie.
And
I see it in the chat. You guys, if you're watching this, put rise up in the chat. Put it in the comments. Rise up and encourage all your girls to rise up.
And share this today with a friend that you think would get inspired and hear Ingrid's story. And let's just thank her and send her some hearts and love. And we thank you so much. And will you do, so I don't know if you know our little mantra that we do for my team, but it's stronger together, and we do mind, body, and soul. So I want to do it with you before you. Sound good? All right, everybody, stronger together, mind, body, and soul.
Right there. I got you.
I see you. I love you. Thank you so much, Ingrid.
Love you.
God bless you.
So great to meet you. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.